Blair and everyone, that's our time. This is our time. So we make it out. A new phase of light may be coming down here to do the work, and they may choose certain vessels for their purpose. And it may be a million new motherfuckers and still in the other billion. So don't get twisted. Whatever the system is, if we were put down here, that's what's happening. And if we're coming down here, that's just the system. Because there's only one or two things. You're coming down here to learn, which is happening, or you're trapped here. I guess it depends on which way you want to go with it. I lean more towards we're coming down here to learn because there's too much learning going on. So you know what I'm saying? This is Sass Talkery right now. Sass Talkery. I'm saying, what's up, Sassomet? Sassomet's hanging on the wall over here. I'm on my Mac stable one, so I can't really move it around. I'm gonna do it on my Mac lap. You know, you need two of them in the studio. This is the studio computer. It is. I want to see how it is because that's Sassery, right? Jadon. Soon I'm putting together a podcast. So if anybody remembers, for a time I did a radio show on Talk Shoe where we had fun, laughed. My boy Dane was on it. So we had a lot of jokes, a lot of past jokes. I fucked with him. My boy could take a joke. But that nigga got a regular human job. He's a CO now. Oh, that nigga be telling me jail stories. Oh my goodness gracious. He's in Virginia. Y'all want to hear some crazy shit? I knew Dane. My mother and his mother were friends in junior high school. She said they were cool. But when they got pregnant, which was virtually the same time, Dane was 2 months after me, they really became cool. So when me and Dane were born, or truthfully, Dane 2 months when he was born, we knew each other immediately. The first memories, 2 years old, and knew each other since then. I can tell you spiritual stories with him in Egypt. I asked him to come down here with me, and he's the nigga that got me to be human. Manners. I had, I'm a wild motherfucker. I used to curse at old ladies. You can't do that. He was social. Now I go back, he would socially keep me straight. He was living with his grandmother. I remember that because his grandmother was our babysitter, and they got their apartment on 10th Street, across the street. This is Queensbridge. So now, at this point, we lived on Vernon, and we get to the end of the block, and we would go diagonally, cross the street, go diagonally to his grandmother's house for the babysitter. It took years but our mother walked us for years. Then she said, I want you to do it yourself. I remember the first day we went to the corner, we stood on the corner. She said, Rosie, the crossing guard, will cross you. We stood on the corner for like an hour. Rosie didn't come. Rosie was standing right there, just crossing people. So our mother came, half an hour probably. Why house yet? We said, we waiting for Rosie. She said, I didn't know they wanted to cross. I thought they was just standing there. I remember that shit. And then I remember when Dane moved, I was like, yo, I'm gonna go see Dane. My mother said, well, he's not at his grandmother's house. They moved. So now, this is what she was trying to explain to me. We live in 4101. There's 4102, 4103, 4104, 4105. That's a straight path through the block. You cross the street, then it's 4101 again, 10th Street. I was on 4101 Vernon, 41-01 Vernon. He's in 41-02 10th Street. So she's like, okay, next door. I'm like, yes. Go on the next block, not diagonally. It took her an hour to explain this shit. Now I got to Dane's block. I'm talking, we like 5 years old. A nigga's playing points. That's when you bounce the ball against the wall and catch it. This nigga I didn't know yet, name was Mark. Later, the guard Sincere. They're like, we all grew up now. It's fucking wild. So Sin was out there, but Mark. So he's outside, said, yo, you know somebody named Dane? He's like, no, he's not even making eye contact. I said, he's supposed to be on this block. I think I knocked on the door. I think I made it upstairs and nobody was there. I came and I started asking him, then he was like, no, you never made eye. I said, well, can I play with you? He said, no. I said, I'll take your fucking ball. And stood in front of him, took the ball. And he tried to, so me and him started fighting. Slammed on. I remember go, Mom! And went upstairs. And I turned around. Dane was coming up the hill with his new crew. Sean Black, Dale Grady, Bub, King Bubba La, well, Dwayne, Bubba La, Itch and Grady, Dale Grady, Sean Black, maybe somebody else. Dane started yelling, you already came on my block doing this shit. Like, I was born with these anger problems. You can't do that to these friends. So we knew each other forever. This nigga's a CEO now. Oh God, he be telling me shit. He keep getting written up for beating them niggas up and fucking them niggas up. Like, you can't be an inmate with them niggas like us, but he's busy, so he can't do the podcast. But I think we're coming together. I got most of the crew. The fourth one was a bitch. I'm trying to find the fourth perfect one, but I think I got the trick. So I think it'll be soon. We're gonna have fun with that shit. That's why I got the podcast mic. I really don't need it, but I got the podcast mic to look official. You know what I'm saying? I could have did it with my fucking regular studio mic, which is way more expensive than that podcast crap that these plug and play ass mics. This is the real deal shit, you know what I'm saying? You need a motherfucking, you need, let me see if I can get it up here. A mic cord to plug it in, not that USB shit, you know what I'm saying? And this this is a step up because this uses the same, there's a name for this mic cord though, I can't remember the name, 3-prong name, but this uses that, it's not USB. Even though there's not really nothing wrong, but the quality is what I'm saying. But I got it now, as you've seen, when I tried the first 2 lives, I couldn't connect it. I got it connected on Zoom, but I couldn't connect it. So this is gonna be a showpiece. But still, I could do vocals, like if I had to say something when I'm recording. All right, let's see. I feel hard. Other people listen to themselves. That's what made me wonder. Okay, what's the spiritual significance of genetics and race? What does it mean to be born not black? Well, again, genetics are about. What's the easiest and best way to say it? It's your credentials. It's your credentials. Like, even within the blacks, even Africans recognize and marry based upon genetics. So that's why they would look at the shape of the head, the shape of the ear, size of the nose, thickness of the lips, family. Even black people in America, well, let's meet as family, because your family shape your genetics. Your genetics can evolve or devolve. The devolution of the black genetics is white people. I said that earlier, that the cat can be devolved to Mr. Bigglesworth, the hairless, to the rat. When they devolve anything, it always comes down to the rat. So the rat is the most evolved shit that in the game. So now devolution and evolution of consciousness evolves the gene, because you have to be at a certain evolutionary level of genes. Race is something that white people called it, because everyone had a touch of melanin, therefore cultures would move the gene forward. So let's say the Indian with their culture were actually moving towards divinity through their culture and cultivating their gift of melanin. African is like the resource of melanin, but don't say African. What became African people? Because remember, this all is our planet. We're not from Africa. Africa does not. See, white people told you that. That's their agenda. Because if we're from Africa, then we made an opposition, they have to be someplace else. They're the inaberrate man. We invented them. That's why they really have no home. So that's why you hear about them invading places and living there. What was left to them was Europe, but then you always hear about the indigenous European, the Indo-Euro, or Indo-Euro when you hear, because white people didn't build Stonehenge. It was there already. They inherited. Druid was niggers first. A Celtic was nigger first. That's why Bobby would talk about the black Irish and shit like that. And the Irish were treated like blacks. And then when the Moors came in, they were trying to preserve their white genetics, which were inferior. So that's why they would get rid of, that's why they don't fuck black people, because when you fuck black people, they start turning black. Black people make white people. White people do not make black people. That, in contrary to what you've seen on the fucking Jeffersons, when the neighbors had the black daughter and the white looking son, they didn't even know what the fuck to even, because that doesn't happen. They get absorbed. They'll go away because our genetics are superior. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. See, but when you say that, see, Hitler had to lie and do that. His whole shit was epigenetics and about genetics, because they were trying to up their genetics. So they have to tell a lie that the black man is the weakest. So when they walk around the planet, they could stand on their genetics. You get what I'm saying? We are the Aryan race, blue-eyed blonde, the superior this. Well, we know them niggas can't even stand in the sun for 5 minutes. Knowing that you can't deal with the most abundant source of energy says exactly what you are. And see, before we came to that determination, they already put in our mind that dealing with genetics or saying anything about genetics is racist. It's not. Our genetics are superior, but that doesn't mean you should do anything bad or say any or treat white people any kind of way. They just know you have nothing to do with that. A orangutan may have more superior genetics, let's just say, than a certain kind of monkey or a certain kind of animal. It doesn't mean you should be racist towards that animal. It just means you ain't got nothing to do with that. So let's pretend a tiger has more superior genetics than a monkey. They don't f with each other. You ain't got to fuck with them. That's actually the point. Your genetics dictate, and your consciousness dictates even a higher form of genetics within the genetics of higher form people. And how do you know they're higher form people? The ability to create, the ability to produce artistry on such a level. I mean, Redman's genetics are incredible just by the shit he says, because because of the work he did in rap and tapping into that creative thing, he's actually transformed his genetics. So let's say he had to be here another lifetime, that because he was a rapper, a method man of such caliber, such craftsmanship, such creativity changes your network, the creative process. I found that out because I did music most of my life. Then I stopped, came to Atlanta, conscious teaching. But I got with B.O.B. That's just why I know he's my brother. He's the one that got me back into music. And my mother, there's a picture up behind me. I used to, before there was no studio, I was trying to figure out where I was going to put this picture. And he seen it, he was like, he said something about that woman. And then I can tell you the story. My mother was a fiend, a record collector. I didn't realize until last year how tortured I was. She never stopped playing music. She never stopped playing music. We'd be in the bed sleeping, had to get up in the morning. The music so loud, we get up 3-4 times. I would turn it down. She would turn it down, get up. We didn't want to even come inside the house. She played music endlessly. It would never leave my head. I used to get up and look for my stepfather's razor and cut my face with it. When I fell off the bed. The third time I did it, she recognized I was using a razor and just started crying because I was really scared. That's how tortured we was. I remember my uncle told me, he said, yeah, one time I came home, you was in the closet. I was like, really? He was like, yeah, you was in the closet. I said, oh, I remember that. I said, I was cool and I used to like hiding this one. And he said, no, I took you home with me. And then when I thought back, no, I was trying to escape music. We couldn't go out. After a while, we couldn't go outside. She would not turn it down. A fiend. So I started making music. So I lived with my grandmother at the time, and she came over. She used to come and get a check. Remember, she was schizophrenic, went back and forth having episodes. Came over to get a check, and I was in a good mood, so I was talking to her. You know, I had a lot of animosity towards her for our life. And I was explaining to her how sampling went. You know, you take a record, you sample it, you recording it, you edit it, and you craft it to a new blah, blah, blah. Because she's a record, she said, so my record collection, that would be a gold mine. I said, you got it. And I didn't know then, but I realized she was so content that I found something, because I was so angry, so fucked up over my childhood. When she seen I found something I was enthusiastic about, now I could see there was a certain contentment she had, that she didn't fuck me all the way up. You know what I'm saying? And so when he said he has a connection to my mother, she was trying to come through him to get me to get back into music, not to make business, not to play it. I play some in front of the lectures just because I could, but you've seen the lecturers who was really trying to be rappers. You know, I did it. I'm successful. I made it. I know how many records I made. The first, Molly Mall lived on the same block. My grandmother used to give Molly Mall a summer job. I just went to his house, could make a record. Actually, went to his house with Tragedy, Intelligent Hoodlum. That's my brother, my little brother. He came, he rapped to me. I'm one of the first dudes he rapped to. He still tells the story. He just says Larry. He doesn't say Patty. And me and DJ Hot Dave went to Molly's house. We got a record deal. I sucked as a DJ, but Hot Dave didn't. Hot Dave was teaching me. Hot Dave got me into music. And I said, fuck it. Let me try. There's a group called Frickin' Frack. Their biggest deal is actually Biz Markie shouting them out, going, we got Frickin' Frack in the house. I brought him to the table. Green Eyed Lou, who got killed, put me on to his cousin Gerard. And he took me out to a farther part of Queens, which is where Southside Queens, where 50 Cent is from. Queensbridge is on the beginning of Queens. Manhattan, you can see the water. And then Manhattan, which is an island. Deeper in Queens is Southside Jamaica. Went out there, 2 girls, Frickin' Frack. Rung to Molly. We did records, we did shows, we did this. And then from there, Molly got me a job at the skating ring, USA. Then from the skating ring, I met Super Lover C. There was contests. Father MC, Kwame, Jay-Z, and Jazz. I told Jazz what happened. There was an incident with him and Jay-Z and us. It was real funny. I told him he didn't remember, but he was laughing. A couple of more names. Master Ace won that contest, and that's why Master Ace was on the symphony with Molly. That was the gift. That's why you didn't hear much from Master Ace. His only gift was to do a record with Molly. He did the record with Molly, and it didn't do shit. But then they were going to do the symphony, and Kool G Rap and Kane, Brooklyn and Queens, had an unspoken battle. So they didn't want to go first. Why didn't they want to go first? Because if Kane went first, Kool G Rap was going to hear what Kane did and make a better rhyme. If vice versa. So Master Ace said, I'll go first. If you remember the record, Molly goes, I don't care who's first, who's last, because these niggas was complaining about it. So Master Ace, and he won that contest. After USA, I met Super Lover C. We became homeboys. He did a record, Do the James, and then Latin Quarters, all the glim glam. I got records played for him, and after that, we met a lot of people. Scratch, Clark Kent at the skating rink. I started working with Clark Kent. For a while, we did some remixes. There's more details of the story. Then I started working with Molly again. He was already upstate. This was after Mama Said Knock You Out, and he paid me a salary, and I stayed with him about a year and a half. We were supposed to do the Laws, but I was bullshit. They kept asking me shit. Nah. Moni Love came through. We was doing Moni's album, one of the bestest people you could ever meet. I don't know what's going on now, but such a sweetheart. You know what I'm saying? I seen Instagram with a grown daughter, but she was a baby in diapers around this time. So it was just interesting to see that. And glad to know she still survived in radio. because she was such a sweetheart, real picky. She wouldn't pick shit from me. Everything I was playing, nope. I was going for that, but in my mind, I wanted to work with Public Enemy. So Marley fired me because I wasn't doing shit. A little bit before 14 Shots to the Dome, because he wanted me to work on it with that. But at this point, I brought so much nigga hood shit back in his house. He started making beats again hard because really he needed the hood to inspire him, and that's what I was doing. I was talking, ranking, and he was back. So he was like, all right then, nigga, I ain't paying you no salary. You don't even come up here no more. And he was right. He just paid me a salary to hang out with my girl. So I went back to Clark. Clark was talking about Jay-Z was coming. Couldn't wait because there's a girl named Monica Payne. Monica Payne, which I didn't know then, all these years, was Short Dog's girl. If you watch Short Dog's Unsung, Monica Payne is on it saying, yeah, I was his girl, but he talks that pimp hoe shit, so we couldn't say it. But Monica, we met her back in the 80s, Super Lover C, in the late 80s, because she was in a group. It wasn't the Good Girls. It was something comparison. They was calling them the Albany Shore Girls. It was 3 of them. Monica, Terry, and somebody else. The somebody else got dropped, and there's an album which you could search called Monica and Terry. That was their album. I don't think it clicked off. Monica was working at MCA for Hank Shockey. So I knew her, and I'm just sending demos out of my beats. She hit me back, which is crazy. But I said, oh shit, yo. And she remembered Land Quarters. Because at this point, if we knew each other in 87, this was 91. So it's about, it's not really that long, 4 or 5 years later. And so introduced me to Hank, because all I ever wanted to do was work with Public Enemy. And sure enough, Hank and I did remixes first. He was testing the water. We did some ABC shit, some other shit. And what made them really impressed was the shit I learned from Marley. Marley Marl is a fucking hands down genius. If you don't know who he is, you need to look. He is the most underrated. He's the first nigga to take sounds and isolate the kick and the snare, which is the standard for rap. He's the first one to do that. And listen, there's something, when there was a 2-inch tape, now they record digital. So now you just make MP3s on your computer. But before, you had to have a physical tape. You literally couldn't carry 2. These shits were so heavy. It's metal because it's magnetic dust. That's what tapes are. When the magnets line up into waves, and that's how you get your recording. So it's metal on these heavy ass tapes. So you had to lug that shit 2 inches, 2 inch thick for 24 tracks. So now, that was the standard. When you did remixes, because most producers would get remixes, how they would do it would be like, MCA would say, okay, we're gonna remix this Pepsi. Give Marley a 2-inch, Pete Rock a 2-inch, Premier a 2-inch, and somebody in the West Coast, Dr. Dre a 2-inch. And then they all remix the song. And whoever has the best one gets the remix.
Hit that like button, subscribe, and tap that bell notification so you can be notified next time I drop some more heat.